Here's something deep. Let me tell you. Whenever Black Americans talk about building for themselves, working together, or moving abroad, they are accused of being divisive or ungrateful. There is a difference between segregation and separation. Let's get that in mind. Segregation was forced, designed to isolate and oppress. Separation, that's empowerment. That's agency. Black people need separation. It's for our own empowerment. When the Black Wall Street was thriving, it was doing good, it was bombed down. Black people had separated themselves and they were doing well. When Marcus Garvey pushed for unity with Africa, he was sabotaged, persecuted. Today, if you start talking about Pan-Africanism, some people still treat you like a threat.
Mr. Trump, please do not segregate us. Please do not segregate us, because then I'm going to have to be around a bunch of my own people, and I would not like to be around a bunch of my own people, and I will give you a list of reasons why. For my number one reason as to why I cannot be around my own people solely is because they can't cook that well, and I don't like green bean casserole. For a solid coming in at number second reason as to why I can't be around them is because April showers bring May flowers, and it's almost April right now, and it's going to be a lot of rain. So I'm going to be around white people with rain in their hair, and it's not going to smell good. It's going to smell like kind of like wet dog. And last but not least, I can't stand being around white people who improperly use AAVE. I finna not be in the pit. Please don't put me in the pit, Mr. Trump.
White people love to segregate themselves from Black people, but they do not want us to build community without them because they fear that our communities will thrive more than theirs. They are scared of what an all-Black community would mean for them. They're talking about segregation now because to them, segregation is power. It is their way of controlling us. And again, they're also trying to incite us. So that way we take the streets and they can kill us. Okay? That's exactly what's going on here. Okay? And let me just tell you, white people, our communities will thrive. We don't need you.
White America doesn't want Black Americans to live. And on the other hand, they refuse to treat them right. That sounds crazy, right? It does. White America, they constantly remind you that you don't belong. And on the other hand, the idea that Black Americans want to find their freedom elsewhere, especially in Africa, it's again an aid to them. And that's why I always say the silence of Black Americans is a threat to the white America. And when the Black America open their mind, when they talk to, is a threat to white America. This means what? This means they want Black America to continue living, or Black people to continue living in a survival mode. Not Black Americans only, even Africans. This control is too deep, and the lies run even deeper. For centuries, the message has always been, you are not welcome here as equals. But here is the contradiction. When Black people say, maybe I will leave, I will go somewhere else, I may go to Africa, suddenly America tightens it up. They make it hard for Black Americans to find peace somewhere else. Think about it. Let's think about it. I've decided to do this video because of the questions or the narrative of segregation that was back there. White Americans came out and said, no, that's not good. You can't segregate Black people. We can't allow that. But on the other hand, they have been wanting this. They want to be on their own spaces. They are racist towards Black Americans. They discriminate Black Americans. They do a number of things to Black Americans or Black people at large. I asked myself, why is it like that? I came to think of it. Why do the white America always mock the idea of Black Americans connecting with Africa? Why is it the word repatriation treated like a threat? I have been thinking about this issue because deep down, America is scared of losing one of its greatest engines: black labor, black culture, black genius, and etc. and etc. And the same system that oppresses you is afraid of your independence. The same system that oppresses Africans, the same system that colonizes Africans, the same system that oppresses black people, black Americans, is afraid of our freedom. That is the topic we're going to talk today. There's some clips here I have featured. I want you to watch these clips. These are Americans talking about we can't allow segregation and many things. Let's watch these clips and then we'll come back here and react.
I don't understand. What's there to be confused about? For hundreds of years, we've treated them like they're not welcome. So why would anybody want to hang around somewhere where they're not wanted? Unfortunately, I kind of agree with them. If we segregate, then the people who are screaming for segregation out of hatred towards the black community, maybe they'll find out that segregation is a really terrible idea because people like me will avoid the whites only businesses. And there's more of us than there are of the ones who want the segregation.
The first thing I want to say is I think it's ridiculous. It's stupid, and whatever. I'm just pissed at everything that guy does. Okay, but one thing that I do want to bring up is the fact that be very careful and don't be distracted, because a lot of times he's a pro at this. He will do something that's so outrageous, everybody's looking and paying attention while something else is going on over here on this side. It's a distraction. The more outrageous, the more distracted everybody becomes, and then they're not paying attention to what's going on over here. They're paying attention to the latest outrageous bullshit. I mean, he's been doing that renaming the Gulf of Mexico, making English the official language of the United States, and that stupid invoking the Alien Enemies Act that now he's claiming he never signed. Okay, it's just one outrageous thing after another. What the hell else is going on that he's trying to take our attention away from? So, to answer your question, I think it's freaking ridiculous. I want to move forward. I don't want to move backward. I don't want to go back to 1964 when the ban on segregation was enacted. Okay, I don't want to go back to the 50s. I don't want to go back to the 1700s. I want to move forward, and we will never be able to move forward as long as the maggot politicians are in power. Period. They do not want us moving forward. They want to keep us stagnant. And they want to be dictators and authoritarians. And we won't go anywhere as long as they stay in power. So I know I'm a little long-winded, but that's the way I am. So anyway, there you have it.
Well, I'll tell you this. If I find out any restaurant, store, any kind of public company place, anyone, no matter what, if I see them starting to actually use segregation, like, won't serve to black people, or have the restaurant divided into different sections, or start returning water fountains with particular signs on them, or anything even remotely like that, I won't be protesting those places. I won't be like, I'm not going to shop in your store, not buy your food anymore. Because there won't be anything to protest. Because I'll be returning with a can of gasoline and a fucking match.
So, the only way segregation would make me happy is if we were segregating MAGA, everyone else from MAGA. That's the only way segregation would make me happy. But in 3 months, we have undone everything that Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and the Black Panthers have fought for. And let's not forget all of those who were murdered during the Civil Rights era for standing up for the black community. And let's not forget those that have passed away from old age or that are no longer with us. We still have Ruby Bridges with us. So we still have Bernice King with us. I'm flabbergasted. If you're happy about it, and you're a snow demon, You just showed why we call you snow demons. And I'm a snow demon. If this was the Black community or the Latino community or the Asian community or the indigenous community putting it up, that'd be fine. That would absolutely be fine, because you guys do need to protect yourself from snow demons. Look, I don't ascribe to racist ideals. I am working very, very, very hard to undo a lot of the subconscious biases that I grew up with. But you don't know me. You see me walking down the street. I'm a snow demon. You don't know that I'm not racist, or I'm working very hard to not be. You don't know that I'm not going to call the cops on you, that I'll probably call the cops on the white person calling the cops on you. You don't know that. So I think if this was not coming from the white community, it would be okay. Because all the communities that are not white, you need to protect yourselves. And I get it. But no, I'm not happy about it. It's undoing everything. Everything. In 3 months, this administration has completely destroyed this nation. Our nation wasn't perfect before, but at least we were on our way. We were on our way to being better. When you talk about America being great, ask yourself who it was actually great for. Because I guarantee you, there's a whole community that would tell you that America wasn't great for them. Yeah, 2 communities actually. But the only way a segregation law would make me happy is if we were segregating MAGA from the rest of society. Good Lord knows we don't need MAGA in this society. We're too civilized for them. But yeah, no. This law doesn't make me happy. We just undid everything. Everything. And that's not a good thing.
Okay, so I have seen some really, really great think pieces and narratives and jokes about this whole segregation thing. But I want to be able to let you know that the whole segregation thing has nothing to do with Black people and has everything to do with white people. Follow me, okay? So it reminds me of Toni Morrison, who is my favorite author. She is a Black author, but she is my favorite author, period. And she was being interviewed by a white woman. And essentially the white woman asked, like, when are you going to elevate your writing and include the white perspective in it? Like, or the right, or the white gaze in it, as she would say. And Toni Morrison replied that I'm not. Because Toni Morrison believed that her books could be read by everybody, but she wrote her books for Black people. And if you're not a part of Black culture, there are certain things within our culture that mandates explanation so that those that are not a part of our culture can understand it. Toni Morrison took that out of her writing. So she said, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, then you don't. But I'm only writing through the Black lens for the Black experience and the Black gaze. That is it. And so when the lady asked that question, Toni Morrison said, I'm never going to do that. And the reality is that Black people live very, very full lives, and white people aren't even a thought. Like, Black people tend to live their lives in a way where we do not think about what white people are doing. And that is very true. It is very factual. A lot of Black people only interact with white people because they go to work with them. Right? So if they do not work with white people and you're Black, how many times are you socializing with white people outside of work? For a lot of Black people, you don't really socialize a lot of times at work, after work, with white people. And so when you have that reality, then it begs for you to be able to go down a line of questioning, right? Which is, what is the issue with segregation? And I've seen some white people on here that was like, white people should be saying that segregation is bad. And the reality is that no, that's not really the problem, right? Because the problem is that we were separate and not equal. That's the problem. It was the maltreatment. Because the reality is that we are no longer segregated. But yet we are still mistreated. We still are not offered the same amount of opportunities. We are still not paid the same rate. We are still not afforded the equality of it. So what white people did was, okay, fine. We will desegregate. It's fine. But once Black people entered these spaces, we were still being mistreated. And so the question could actually be, if we had equality, right? if we had equal access to buying land, equal access to be able to garner wealth, equal pay, and we were never desegregated, would desegregation actually be necessary? And there is a, when you take a look at what was happening with the Tulsa riot, is the fact that Black people were equal and separate, right? They had land, they had businesses, they were accruing wealth. It was the wealthiest Black community. And white people who were not a part of the community, very much separate, and yet we are equal, right? They have banks, they have people that build, they have people that, grocery stores, they have houses, they have neighborhoods, they have milkmen, they have mailmen. White people have their own neighborhoods, white people have their own businesses, white people have their own groceries, white people have their own things, separate but very much equal. And white people looked over and said, what are they doing over there? And bombed it. Right? Because otherwise, if Black people continue on prospering on their own, why would any Black person say, I need to be over there? There's an argument for that. And so then when you look further, taking a look at desegregation, right? Whose lives improved due to closer proximity of white and Black people? White people. Their lives improved. Their logic improved. All of a sudden, they begin to be enlightened on the reality of the fact that they themselves were lied to. Otherwise, had they not come into proximity with Black people, there is no reason for them to believe that their ancestors ever did anything wrong. Or there's also no reason to believe that they are more like Black people than what they were told. Because many, many years ago, the Republican Party, right, they said that the way that you are able to steal from poor white people is to convince them that they're better than Black people. And if you can convince them of that, you can steal money from out of their pockets and they would never notice. So here we are, where we are no longer desegregated. And you see all over this app where you have white people that are learning a lot about historical truths that Black people already knew. We already knew these things. But you have white people on a daily that are like, I didn't know that. That's not what I was taught. I wasn't taught that, right? You have whole religious sects of people that were literally taught that the Civil War was not about slavery. You literally have all of these white people that had no clue that Juneteenth existed, or why it existed, or how many years it actually took post-emancipation for the last slave to actually be freed. Proximity has caused for a lot of the misinformation fed to white people to perpetuate racism, to be dismantled. And so you literally have people that are white nationalists. I need you to follow. You literally have people that are white nationalists that are now running the Republican Party, right? In order for them to bring white people back into subjugation, we have to separate them from minorities, because they are learning truths that causes it to be extremely difficult for us to tell them that Black people are subservient. Because proximity means that you are able to identify where we overlap. Now they're understanding the humanity of minorities. And now they're not going to go along with the Aryan beliefs that white people are the elite race and they are better than another ethnic group and they deserve to have things by virtue of them being white. Do you see how segregation has nothing to do with Black people and has everything to do with getting white people back in line? Are you understanding what's going on here? Because it's never for the sake of black people, which is why black people is like, we cool. Segregate, separate, illuminate, elucidate, do whatever you got to do. And that is a very true reality. Because we have only known desegregation. But we have also only known that when we're in your proximity, we are still killed. We are still murdered. We are still mistreated. We are still shunned. We do not have the same access, even though we are in closer proximity. So if our lives have not changed by becoming in closer proximity, why would we continue to be close? Okay, separate us. But you have white people that are like, no, segregation is wrong. Why? Because your life has changed because of proximity. Are you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you get this now? Are you tracking? The segregation thing has nothing to do with black people and everything to do with trying to put white people back in their place.
Welcome back. Now, black Americans, most of them are originated or originally come from Africa. Their ancestors came from Africa. It is logical, or it is just something to use a mind to know that Africa is a home of black people. Africa is a home of black Americans, even if some of them deny, but that is reality. Now let's talk about Africa, the motherland, a place rich of culture, rich in beauty, rich in opportunity. But what do most Americans or black Americans learn about Africa? Number one, they learn about the poverty of Africa, flies, mosquitoes, squirrels, and sickness, corruption, war. Those are the things that Americans learn about Africa. And it's a one-sided story. It's not by accident. It is a structure to tell you things that are negative about Africa. We call them stereotypes, but not the positive things of Africa. Hollywood has played its part. The education system of America is designed to portray Africa in a different way. They never show you the tech cities in Kenya. They never show you the resorts in Ghana. They never show you the thriving fashion scene in Nigeria or a peaceful communities in Botswana. They won't show you that. They will only show you the negative part. How the wars is going on in Congo, how things are boiling up in Sudan, how things are going in Uganda, and the forest side and the desert side. That's all the things they will show you. But why are they doing that? It's because if black Americans start loving Africa, if black Americans starting thinking positive of Africa, if black Americans started falling in love with Africa, they must start living. They must start living. They must start investing their dollar in Africa, and that terrifies the Western elites. It breaks the illusion of superiority. But I'm so happy some of black Americans have started knowing these things, and they're flocking back to Africa. They're investing in Africa. For those who just don't follow the stereotypes, some of them are here in Africa. They have come here, they have looked, they have invested, and they are happy. Then they always need you to believe this, that Africa is beneath you. Because once you see the truth, you will realize that you have been sitting in a passenger seat of a stolen car. And yet you have your own cars, your own inheritance in Africa. You have a number of cars. And while you are sitting on a passenger seat on a stolen car, that's what they want you to not to know. They don't want you to know the truth of what's going on. That's why I came up with this. White America is scared of black people leaving them, or white America is scared of black people separating themselves. Now, you ever notice how expensive it is for black person in America to vacate or to move to Africa? It's very, very expensive. I have come across a number of black Americans who talk to me, and they tell me they would love to come and visit here. They love to come and invest in Africa. They love to come and buy a piece of land and blah, blah, blah. But it's very, very expensive for them, especially into flight. We call what? The cost of flights. To Ghana, it's over $1,000 USD. Visas, permits, dual citizenship. It's very, very expensive to come and live in Africa or to move in Africa. Very complicated and very expensive. So, on the other hand, white elites or white experts seem to relocate to Africa easily. They get it at ease. They start NGOs, build resorts, buy land, open businesses, and they are welcomed with open arms. Why is it easy for white people to relocate in Africa and it's hard for black people to come in Africa? Have you ever thought of that? Why? If it's really they don't want you to be in America, if they are treating you bad, if they really don't want you to be there, why are they not allowing you to go? Just like Israelites and the Pharaoh. Now, when black Americans try to move to Africa, try to open business, to invest, to open the resources and everything, there's more of a red tape, more scrutiny, more resistance. It's such number of things, and it will make black Americans to say, oh, it's okay. If you don't want me here, I will go. Why? Because the system doesn't want you as black people, doesn't want black Americans to find peace. The system wants to keep you fighting for the seat at that table, a table you helped to build, a table you have fought for, a table you are still fighting for, but they don't want you to own it. That is it. We need to have these discussions. We need to talk. I'm happy right now. I have learned a number of things about black people, about FBA, the things they're going through, the hardship they're going through, and the reason why maybe some of them are saying, oh, Africa is not our land. Because some of them say like that Africa is not their state. There's some reason there. Now, when they talked about segregation, Americans came out and said, no. We don't want that. Black people are our own people. But when the things go silent, they start segregating them. Now, here is something deep. Let me tell you. Here is something deep. Whenever black Americans talk about building for themselves, working together, or moving abroad, they are accused of being divisive or ungrateful. There is a difference between segregation and separation. Let's get that in mind. There is a big difference between segregation and separation. Segregation was forced, designed to isolate and oppress. Separation, that's empowerment. That's agency. And that is the difference between separation and segregation. Black people need separation. We need separation. It is agency. It's for our own empowerment. When the Black Wall Street was thriving, it was doing good, it was bombed down. Black people had separated themselves and they were doing well. They were doing perfectly well. What did they do? They bombed Black Wall Street. When Marcus Garvey pushed for unity with Africa, he was sabotaged, persecuted. Today, if you start talking about Pan-Africanism, some people still treat you like a threat. It is true. We see these things. We see them because your independence threatens their dependence on you. That is the reality. So, white America have always played a psychological game. It tells you you are free, but it punishes you for acting like you are. They say you are American, you are born here, but they never say that one to Italian people who are going to invest to Italy. They never say that to Ireland people or Irish people who are going to invest in Irish. They don't tell that to French people who are going to invest in France, but they tell that to black people who are going to invest in Africa. Why? Why? So the message is very clear. Black people are not allowed to dream of anything bigger than survival. That is the message that the white America is sending home. But the narrative is falling apart because more and more black people are waking up. Reality. More and more black people are waking up. And the reason why I say they are scared to let go of Africans, let me break that down because when I started, I need to finish it completely so that we can understand this. I don't want to leave it blank so that you cannot understand my message. I want my message to be home to all black people and white America. This is just for education purposes. Black Americans are economic powerhouses, over 1.8 trillion in buying power. They can't let that go that easily. Black culture is the heartbeat of the global trends, from music to the fashion to slang. They can't let that go. If black Americans unite with Africa, it creates a bridge. The power they can't control. So the diaspora is a threat to white supremacy because it cannot be confined. And that's why they still treat you bad. White begging you not to leave. They still treat you bad while begging you not to leave. So, what do? First, we educate ourselves, like what I'm doing. Let's educate ourselves, learn the real story of Africa, learn your real history, protect your history. Don't learn the filtered version. Connect with the brothers and sisters across the ocean. Visit. Don't buy the stereotype. Don't buy the stories. Visit, build, collaborate. Second, we shift our mindset. Stop begging for seats at broken tables. Start building our own. Let's come together. Let's unite. Let's build our own at homes, abroad, and everywhere in between. Let's unite. Let's shift our mindset. It's not about the milk and honey in America. It's about the future of our kids, the future of our grandchildren. And this is what we need to do. Unite, collaborate, talk. Another thing, finally, we realize the truth, they don't want to let you go, not because they love you, but because they fear what you will become when you are free. You get that? But here's the good news, that freedom, it is still yours to claim. That is the good news. We need that freedom. So Black Americans who are listening to this message, and if this message resonates with you, I'd like to see what you say in the comment section. I'd love you to share this video, because once upon a time, I was young. I heard a number of things about Black Americans, how angry they are, how vigorous they are, how they only talk about race. I had a lot of stories. And once upon a time, when Black Americans, some of you, when you are young, you had a lot of stories about Africa. But right now, we are able to learn, to listen, to see, to visit, and know what's going on. Right now, I know a number of things about FBA. I know what they are going through. I know how they have suffered. I know since 1800s, 1600s, how they have built America, how they came the slavery, how they were sold, how Africa played that part, why Africa is allies to white people and not Black Americans. I know a number of things. And I'm here to tell you that I am one of the people who want that unity. I'm one of the people who want that change. Not every African will think as I'm thinking. Not all Black American will think as you think. So we need to educate people. We need to educate our friends. We need to educate others. I love Black Americans who share the videos. I go to my email and I see videos of some content creators being shared to me. I watch them. It is educating ourselves. If this message is good, let it reach to everyone. Let it reach home. Hit the like button, subscribe. And for those who are sending super thanks, thank you so much. I love you. You are the one that are making me to smile and making me to wake up the other day and breathe. Okay? So I will say this. Let's keep walking, people, and let's keep waking other people up so that we can walk together on truth, one time at a time. I am the Kenyan Beast. Stay woke, stay powerful, and stay free. Peace.